I've been with Put People First for almost 2 or 3 years, and I love the work that they're doing, and I feel that I should get involved because I have a voice, they have a voice, and everybody should have a voice and speak about what they need. And we're out here today to let people know that they're cutting Medicaid, and we want to stop. We're not gonna ask them, we're demanding this. People are dying, and they don't realize this. My son died because he didn't have insurance.
There are mean things happening in this land. There are mean things happening in this land. But the movement's going on, and the movement's growing strong.
Tonight, we are gathered as
part of the National Nonviolent Medicaid Army
week of action against the Medicaid cuts taking place in this country.
We know that hospital closures and
Medicaid Cut Offs equal
death.
Say it with me. Medicaid cuts equal death.
Medicaid cuts equals what?
Death!
Medicaid cuts equals what?
Death!
Medicaid cuts equals death.
Now we're looking at up to 24 million people nationwide losing their Medicaid. How many of those people will wind up in prison or worse die because they were cut off from their health care?
we hear that these Medicaid cuts are going back to normal.
I guess the new normal, as they like to call it, but their new normal and what the new normal should be is vastly different.
Should losing access to your health care because you make just a little bit too much be normal?
No!
Or because your paperwork wasn't updated?
No!
Should losing our family members just because they couldn't get the health care coverage they needed be normal?
No!
This is not normal. This is not an unwinding. This is a purge. Medicaid cuts equal death.
Over 200,000 people have been kicked off of Medicaid in Pennsylvania, with over 1 million more likely to come in the next year, leaving us with no dental, no teeth, no services, and most of all, death. Let's storm Harrisburg and let's be heard.
Today is part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army Week of Action that is happening across the nation. There are states across the country participating, and Pennsylvania is one of them.
Put People First PA members are holding actions all across the state, in Pittsburgh, in Johnstown, in Berwick, in Lancaster, and right here in Delaware County.
The purpose of today's action is to call attention to the hospital closure, not only here in Berwick, but to hospital closures across the state.
Fight, fight, fight!
We're outside in front of Delaware County Memorial Hospital in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, which is a 168-bed hospital that was closed, not because it wasn't needed, but because it wasn't profitable. So we're out here in our first event in front of the hospital as part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Week of Action.
We're here today to tell people's Medicaid stories and to talk about how the Medicaid cuts is hurting people.
I have experienced so many horror stories with the healthcare system that I have no choice but to be out here fighting.
Yes.
We're the richest country in the world. And there's countries that have free Medicaid for all their citizens. And we need to sit up there and let them people be held accountable that we send to D.C. and send to Harrisburg and let them know if they're not going to do the job for us, we're going to find somebody who will. Because we're tired and we're not going to take it anymore.
To me, they're letting us know that we are not a priority. We're just like fodder.
The movement's going on.
We all caravanned here to Harrisburg together to deliver a petition to stop the Medicaid cutoffs in Pennsylvania. We're delivering that to Governor Josh Shapiro as well as Secretary of Health Val Arkush. And then we're also going to have a rally and a speak out at the Capitol in the East Wing Rotunda. And we're here to change the narrative about healthcare, about the poor, and the stories that we're going to share are evidence that it's a systemic problem.
There's a quote on there from my mama, who died last month. She died because she's been denied her basic needs throughout her life, despite working hard all of her life. She's been denied at times for health care, housing, faced food insecurity, struggled, raising myself.
I've seen violence like this and I've lived in it. If my mental health would have been addressed and treated properly, I may not have had to witness the things I have, which has only worsened my state of my mental health. If I would have had Medicaid when this all happened, and I would have gotten treatment and been on meds, I would have not ended up in places like prison. Now we are looking at 24 million people nationwide losing their Medicaid. How many of those people will end up imprisoned or worse, die because their health care has been cut?
They profit off our hospitals and shut them down when they so choose. To us, a hospital is a necessity. Medicaid is a necessity. Without coverage, having a heart attack means medical debt. Without a hospital, that heart attack means death. If you understand that healthcare is a right, it's a human right, understand that we need to get organized to fight for it.
This has to stop. You can't take away Medicaid from people. People are dropping like flies. Everyone needs Medicaid. They want poor people to stay poor. People can't afford it. They're suffering to feed their families. They don't want us to live. That's why we're demanding. We mean business. How can we stop this? How can we help others to get the Medicaid they need?
We must unite and organize. We must push for our demands. And we need those who aren't organized with us to get organized with us. Follow the leadership of the poor and dispossessed, because when you lift from the bottom up, we all rise. And we can rise together and create a new society where people are not suffering, where they're not dying before their time, where they're not starving to death or dying in the streets. The time is now.